level design is very important and is unique to each level. How did you come to that versus a lot of the RPG I read is kind of rules span across levels?
Yeah, so that was one of the things when I decided to make it 18 floors. I knew there's no way I'm gonna have 10 books that are the exact same thing over and over, because it gets old very fast, and especially a lot of the RPG gets really repetitive. If you listen to some of the earlier RPGs on audio, it's awful because you put sheets in there of text and of stats, and listen to somebody read 15 minutes, literally 15 minutes of stats. It's unbearable. So I wanted to make sure that each individual floor had a different aspect to it, and each floor is different, which is fun. You get everybody's favorite trains in one floor, and the card battles in the other, and then the racing in this new one, and all the other stuff. So it's almost like it's a new book with the same characters every time.
Yeah, there's definitely a level of unpredictability in Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I think a lot of that comes from that character-centric nature of the work that maybe other lit RPGs don't have as much. I think that's why it resonates with a lot of people. Who else does it resonate a lot with? Not to ask a question.
What was the most difficult hole to get to work so far?
That's a good question. There's been quite a few. A lot of times they stem from, on my Patreon, people can vote for things that happen in the book. Because it's fun for me. I'll never have them vote on something that Carl does or Donut says or anything, but things that the dungeon throws at them or contents of the fan boxes will be voted for by the people. A lot of people don't realize that. The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, for example, was voted for by the fans. The trains was voted for by the fans. Cuba was voted for by the fans. That was actually a difficult thing for me because I knew nothing about Cuba. They literally had every country in the world except the Bahamas to pick, and they just fucking picked Cuba for some reason. And I had to read a bunch of stuff about Cuba. But I got myself into a pretty big hole, I think, with book 7, just at the beginning of it, because so much had to happen for it to complete. We had so many different quests that needed to be completed before I finished the book, and as a result, the book ended up being 270,000 words long, which is pretty long for a book, and I'm trying to keep them a little bit shorter than that, because I actually wrote over 800,000 words for that book. Yeah, and it's been cut down, and a lot of times I write the same thing over and over again if I get stuck. So I don't know what one specific thing is. The existence of the sepsis war crowd was a very difficult thing for me to figure out, to do it in a different, interesting way. Because you can always go the most common way, the easiest path, not necessarily the easiest path, but the most predictable path. But I always want to surprise the readers, and I want to surprise myself. And the best way I can do that is by painting myself into a corner and then just spending a few days banging my head against it and trying to figure out a way to come out of it. And I do that by rewriting the scene over and over and over and over again. Killing every character in the scene in turn. Seriously. And then seeing how everyone's reactions are. Every once in a while, I'll pick one and keep it, or I'll find a way that's realistic that everyone gets out of it without being too bad. And this is not a good way to write, but it's the way I do it, and it's the way the way my brain works. So it's the only time it's not going to change anytime soon.